Okay. Okay, so my name is Winter. Okay, my name is Winter. It's called. What does the Bible say about giants? So today I'm going to be talking about giants. But when people talk about giants, though, modern people, people that read the modern versions, well, they changed the word giant to this word here, Nephilim. Yeah, it's the word Nephilim, Hebrew word for giant. Well, I don't know if that's true. It could be. It probably is. Maybe that I know. I think that's what I know. That's what I do believe. But the problem is with this. Even if that's true, you know, I don't speak Hebrew. I speak English, and I'm already am learning language, and I'm already learning other languages. Okay. First of all, I'm gonna have to talk about. I'll talk about the language Hebrew later on, but I know later in another video. But I have to say, I want to say this. Hebrew is mostly useless here in the United States, America. It's only used for visiting Israel. So the point of the word Nephilim, you know, it's just something we have to know about. It's something I don't really care about. Now, some people also believe that the Nephilim teaches that angels get married. Really? Uh, if there's well, I don't know if that's true because if there's such thing because if that's true, then there might be such thing as female angels in the Bible. Well, I'm not sure if there's such thing as female angels. It could be, but the Bible does not talk about. But the Bible does not. But the Bible teaches that angel. But the Bible doesn't talk about angels being married. It doesn't. Well, let me give you a Bible verse about this because okay, it's in Mark. Okay, it's in Matthew and Mark. Let me get to those verses. Okay. So Matthew chapter I'll 22 verse 30. I'll do this first. I'll do Matthew 22 verse 40 first, and then I'll do the book of Mark. So here, so it's right here. For in the resurrection, neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels of God in heaven. So that's one of the verses. Now we have to go to Mark. Now you go see again at Mark 12 verse 25 about this. Well, it says right here in the book of here. Yeah, okay, so here. So it says, when they shall rise from the dead, neither marry nor of the given to marriage, but are as the angels which are in heaven. So the Bible teaches that angels don't get married. Okay? They don't get married. So you say that angels marry thing is false anyway. Okay? If that's what you and that's what you think of the Nephilim doctrine teaches about this, I think you're stupid, and I think that's stupid, and it has to go away anyway. Now, what I believe about giants are. Now, what evolutionists believe about giants, they think the giants are like about 500 feet tall, but that's not what we see in the Bible. Okay, what we see giants in the Bible. What we see as giants in the Bible, we're talking about people are so big, you know. And it is true that Goliath was a giant. He was a giant that was like about 9.5 feet tall, right? Yeah. And also, but there was giants much bigger than Goliath. Way back in the pre-flood world, I believe. Okay, so maybe the tallest giant in the world, like way back in the pre-flood world, I believe, was probably about 20 feet tall. That's what I believe. Okay, and why do I believe the tallest giant is about 20? The tallest giant could be about 20 feet tall, because that's probably how that's probably how many people grew in the pre-flood world. The pre-flood world was a lot different back then. People could grow bigger and taller, and also live longer, because they had more oxygen back then. But not just people, also animals were growing they grow so big as well. You know, I'll get to giant animals too, because giant animals is something as well. You know. Okay, now so let's read about giants here, and you can get into the giant bugs, because there were giant bugs way back in the pre-flood world as well. So who were the giants in the days of Noah? But before we can get to that, though, we have to talk about what giants are called in other languages, because, well, first of all, let's see which languages might be better and useful. Because, you know, I don't speak Hebrew, I speak English, and I already am learning other language, and I'm already learning a couple of other languages here. But it's not Hebrew. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about anyway. Now, another language that's also useless, except if you go to Greece or Cyprus, is Greek. Yeah, I know, and people are, and I mean, have vaguely scholars about going back to the Greek here, and that's not good. Well, I do have the word Greek. I do have the word giant, and also gigantic in Greek. But I also have it in other languages too. Other languages you might think that might be useful, and some of them might be useless too. So giant in Greek is
Gigantes.
gigactus. Okay, and then in Spanish,
Gigante.
gigante. Okay, now I'll see which one is useful. What about Spanish? There's a lot of Spanish-speaking countries out there you can preach the gospel to. You know, it's not just Mexico. You know, South America, Spain, and also the American country called Spain, and it's also Equatorial Guinea, and just in Africa. So, to me, I would say Spanish is more useful than Greek. Another one that's also French, because French also has countries in Africa, and also there's also a French in I believe in Canada, and also France. So
Géant.
yeah, géant.
Géante.
So yeah, so géant is I'll say giant in French. Okay, and that's well, neither one. Okay, so another one would be French. That's another one that's useful. Now French is not that useful here in California, but it is useful in some other states in the United States, like in the eastern part of the United States. I think like Louisiana, or I think Texas and Louisiana. I think maybe Alabama and Georgia and Florida maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I think French is mostly used in the East Coast, but I don't know that for sure in the United States. Now here's a language that's pretty useful. Mandarin. Okay. But the problem is that you also got this one.
巨人.
Okay, Juren. Juren um, is giant in Mandarin. what about?
عملاق.
Imlaco? Okay, that's giant in Arabic. And I heard that Arabic's pretty useful. Yeah, it's the most spoken language, and you can also use it for to preach the gospel. You can also use it to, and you can also use it to go to the. And there's some African countries and also West Asian countries that speak Arabic, so that's what you can use that language for. So yeah, Arabic is pretty useful. I'm not going to learn it, but you can learn it if you want. I'm just showing you what it is.
교진.
Okay, so Kojin is how to say giant in Japanese.
거대한,
Kodedan, okay, Kodehan,
거대한,
Kodan. Well, that's okay. So that's one way to say giant in Korean. It's also this one too.
거인,
Coin. Okay, which is so those are the ways to say giant in Korean. But now we have to get into are these, and now what about the word gigantic? Is that called differently in Greek? Well, yes.
Pelorios.
Yeah, now Google Translate is translating as Perlios, which is pretty close. Yeah. We also got this one though.
Gigadios.
Gigatios. Yeah, I would say Gigatios is gigantic in Greek.
Gigantesque.
Gigantisk. It's how to say gigantic in French. Okay, now we can get into Mandarin.
巨大.
Okay, Judah. Okay. Let me delete the extra one, so
巨大
So Judah, it's how to say gigantic in Mandarin. So there it is. Okay, now what about Arabic?
I'm local.
Yeah, still Alako. Not much of a change. What about Japanese?
巨大
Koidai. So let's say gigantic in Japanese. Now what about Korean? Korean.
거인 같은,
Koigaten. It's how to say gigantic in Korean. Yeah. Alright, okay, that's fine. You know. So that's it. Now I'll tell you how these languages are useful. So Greek is Hebrew is only useful for visiting Israel, and if you want to learn about the Israeli culture, that's fine. Greek is only used for visiting Greek in Cyprus. And you can learn about the Greek culture and the Cypriot culture. And that's probably much it. Yeah, Hebrew and Greek are both useless in the United States of America. But now, Spanish is pretty useful in the United States of America because there's a lot of Spanish speakers here you can reach to. You know. And there's a lot of Spanish speaking countries you can go to. Now, what about French? French is pretty useful too, but probably in the eastern part of the United States, I believe. But I could be wrong with that. I don't know. But there's a lot of French-speaking but there's also French-speaking countries like in Africa, and there's also France, and there's also Canada. I think in Quebec they speak French there. I believe, yeah. So, yeah, I would say French is useful. Mandarin is another language that's also useful in my home country, United States of America. It's also spoken in Australia, in some parts of Australia, and also spoken in some parts of Africa. I think some parts of South America too. I think it's also spoken in Malaysia, in some parts of Malaysia, yeah, and I think some parts of India as well. Singapore, Taiwan, and then you got the big country, yeah, China. And then there's Arabic. Well, I don't know where the language of Arabic came from. I believe Arabic came from Saudi Arabia. But now you got a lot of other countries that have Arabic as the official language, like Iran and Egypt and Libya and some other ones. So Japanese, well, only used for visiting Japan. It's pretty useless here in the United States of America. Korean, well, it's pretty useful in the United States, America, yeah. But you only, and also used for visiting, I guess South Korea. Yeah, because North Korea is mostly closed for foreigners. And I'll get to that maybe some other time. Okay, so okay, so who are the giants in the days of Noah? Well, okay, it says right here, there are giants in the earth in those days. And after that, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. So 6 verse 4. And passage all scripture yielded quotations of Genesis chapter 6 verses 1 to 5. Who were the sons of God and who were the daughters of men? Why do you prepare giants associated with great wickedness? Some of those proposed that the sons of God, descendants of Adam's son Seth, and the daughters of men, were the line of rebellious Cain. Interesting thought. But in Noah's day, essentially no righteous people from any line. Others have rightly noted that the term of sons of God in the Old Testament refers to only the angels. Thus, these must be fallen angels. Satan has launched an aggressive campaign against Adam, descendant of a polluted mankind, a redeemer, and the seed of woman, Genesis 3 verse 15, and could not come. Well, that's not what I believe about the sons of God are. The sons of God well, the problem is that the sons of God, talking about, first of all, I don't know why that's what a lot of people believe about the Old Testament here. Well, I don't know why a lot of people believe the sons of God in the Old Testament refers to angels. Anyway, I'm talking about another video. It says in Scripture, and it's just not part of the okay, be with a giant more and part of the eternal spirit. Okay, well, first of all, I disagree about angels being the sons of God in the Old Testament. That's what I disagree about because the Bible teaches that Christians are the sons of God, and you could be a son of God once you get saved and believe in Jesus Christ for your salvation. So that's what I disagree with this ICR. Anyway, let's keep reading. So let's see. That's another alternative by a day. As in genomics and Bible scholars, yesteryear it could not be suggested. The idea of the genetics and chromosomal wonders and scabbling and cloning and other giant greater dozens of Satan would virtually have done it too. The inner workings of the molecule of the presence of ions of Satan, of Benjamin, of 20 animal genes, like we just did human DNA, that could not have been accomplished many events, but the destruction of the image of God. Obviously, we cannot speak certainly, for if the Bible gives a little detail, and really Satan's demons could have selected and adult certain men and women, and perform selective breeding experiments to produce over the generations of the race of giants. And we could have done it with animals too. Maybe that's where the unthinkable features we see in fossil record from. This could represent Satan's rage and to fully destroy the vintage of God's once very good creation. Could he not have insert genes, variegated cones, mocking in God's medicine handiwork? But this is why God had to see the flood eradicating the civilization beyond repair of the unknown with Noah, preserving the true seed of Adam. One more thought. Christ compared the days of Noah and prior to his return all of the actions which produced giants. And it's the word of this comparison. There's in no important history have humans able to pray God and the genome as they do now. The Russian brings the ghoulish possibilities of the ending of self-manuation, of the midst of longer time gods under condemnation. He self-evaluates modern experiments. Now, did giants ever exist? I considered a warfare and hand-to-hand combat basically taller and stronger warriors, as well as soldiers and individual tanks. Several references are men in the Bible are groups of giants who are enemies of Israel. What does the scripture mean? When it talks about giants, it's of human giants, and useful as when it's a doubt the Bible's continuity. The Israel deliverance from Egypt just before they would enter the promised land, a proportion of the territory happened of the events of great scripture. And when the Israeli spies saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which were the giants, which were on sight of grasshoppers, and so they were in their sight. Numbers chapter 13, verses 32 to 33. Though not detailing how big these men were, and they have looked so formidable that the spies desired to avoid battle entirely, extenuating figurative language calling the Israelites grasshoppers, and indeed of the discouraging almost everyone and turning the battle. There, though, the Israelis defended these giant people in battle. How big were these biblical giants? Goliath of Gath is possibly one of the famous giant in history. The story of David and Goliath is commonly used to illustrate alongside battles. It's probably told that a boy named only the shepherd sling accepts a challenge when equipped as a superhuman warrior, defeats this giant and a single stone, and becomes king of Israel. The fictional flavor of the scene of permeate typical realization. No wonder of the skeptics of this story about a giant. It's another example of Bible's been excited tall tales. No more believable to some than Jack and the Beanstalk. David's fight with Goliath is recorded in 1 Samuel chapter 17, and is a treated real history of the mythical story. In fact, in the accounts of this biblical history, remarkably, David is remembered depicted as a little shepherd boy. He was meeting with Goliath. David is described as a mighty, valiant man, and a man of war, and who it matters, and the Lord is with him. And 1 Samuel 16, verse 18. Goliath's large stature, and that also makes sense. Was like the sons of Enoch, a clean, white, large people known as Achims, when Israel defeated them. None of the Achim were left in the land, and children of Israel Gaza and Gath. In the Ashdod, Joshua chapter 11, verse 22. Giants' height have been given 6 cubits and a span, which is 9.5 feet tall. Cubits refers to a length of 18 inches and every cubit. Places Goliath, presumably with his range around 9 to 10 feet tall. Goliath was probably a larger giant since he was a champion warrior. The Bible's description of Goliath's height and line every day are sense of people regarding giants. Referred today refers a massive 6-foot inch, 350-pound football player as a giant. They have been significantly larger than average, not wholly with suspicion of 4-story tall monsters. Nevertheless, biblical record of giants over 9 feet tall indicates obviously taller than today's largest athletes. What explains these giants? Suggests these people were diseased and balanced growth hormone, but that's an extremely unlikely and multi-generational clan of people who have the condition. Others believe the children are born the sons of God, daughters, men, as reference to Genesis 6, verse 4, where the giants with strong emphasis of physical stature. There's no biblical claim of the divine activity in these verses, so the passages. Normal humans may have the height of only 4 feet, only 4 feet tall, and others over 6 feet tall. And due to records of non-deceased humans at the heights of range of 3,500 years ago, and this is reasonable, a straightforward explanation. These are biblical giants were so large because of no human fertility. Now we also can talk about giant animals. There's also giant bugs. Let me show you to you in my book of some giants in my book. Because it talks about something way back in the pre-flood world, and I want to show you some other, because they're not just giant humans, there's also giant animals too. So there was a dragonfly fossil, 50-inch, wingspan found in Italy. And also a full-size giant oysters. Yeah, here's a picture of the giant oysters right here. Giant oysters. That was found in Peru. It's all the way in South America. And it was a false rhinoceros that's found was 18 feet tall. Yeah, that's the giant rhinoceros up there, and there's the giant turtle was 13 feet long and 16 feet wide. Yeah, that's a picture of the giant turtle right here. Okay, and that was in my book about the pre-flood world and stuff. Now, there's also giant bugs. Okay, why they once ruled the earth? Well, giant insects seek and shun high oxygen atmosphere. The fossil record contains supersized versions of number of creatures, including insects, giant dragonfly, since no seagull-sized dragonflies fly skies today. Many wonder why they grew so large. Many idea evolutions of some creations involves the possession of giant growth involved in the atmosphere richer oxygen than ours. Well called David Bolton and an insignificant insect, gigantism, with the toxic effects of hyperoxia. Okay, Vivek and Bolton are examining the effects of hyperoxia. So like dragonflies, Jonaville, stoneflies live in the water. And the NFL numbers of oxygen, for the territory of Jonaville stoneflies are breathing adults. Larvae have less able organic gas exchange of adult insects. Larger larvae as any smaller surface and our volume ratio, since oxygen has been taken by the larvae at the surface area. Researchers believe that oxygen larvae would ecological advantage, and the giant insects. Hyperoxia is thought to be inhabit giant insects. As far as qualities of the air, and given the limitations of insect respiratory systems, evolutionists generally believe that the early Earth had no oxygen because oxygen have been toxic to the chemical building blocks of life. Following the evolutionary scientific organisms, they believe will become oxygenated. The botanical conditions of absorbed oxygen of up to 31 to 35%. Some creationists have posed to canopy model, suggesting the pre-flood Earth figuring out the effect of the vapor canopy. Well, hyperastic atmosphere, some versions of the model, also some of the models. However, the canopy model is not held up with scientific or biblical scrutiny. Interest in Genesis, along with many other creationists, do not consider the valuable model. But we always have encouraged researchers to continue to examine the issue. We do not present accept the idea or necessary extracted level of atmospheric oxygen. Furthermore, the idea that Earth once had no oxygen is not borne out by geological findings. Biblically, we know that God provided the earth with oxygen early in the creation week. Plants would have been producing on the day 3, and animals would have needed to breathe on day 5. And also day 6. We cannot know with certain whether the pre-flood atmosphere differed from our own, or to what atmosphere. The global flood is aftermath, and we will alter our atmosphere in the same way. We cannot dogmatic about differences, but we know that high levels of oxygen to have the several dementor effects. Some that suggested of the higher atmospheric oxygen was the cause of longer lifespans in the pre-flood world, and suggest that people lived longer and some animals grew bigger because of the hyperoxia. However, genetics of the biology may begin of the dramatic drop in post-flood lifespan, extreme effects of the curse on mankind. We do not have in full high oxygen levels explained existence of giant insects, nor variation of the kinds of the simply of the included gigantic varieties. Perhaps that the climate changes to post-flood world were stressful for many animal varieties and tended to grow large. But that more extreme winters and shorter growing seasons, that's how we reach modernity reduce more, successfully seasonal constraints. Natural selection would have then eliminated the larger varieties. Thus, we have a current study of something of organism toxicity to larvae. We cannot assume that the insect gigantism has been recovered. So there is no good reason since the world once had that hyperoxic atmosphere. And you also cannot be dogmatic about those gigantism or the extinction of these creatures. The idea of the gigantic varieties of the creatures stressed out of the existence by climate changes and the work of the global flood of the biologically consist of the explanation. Even so, there are other explanations yet to be thought of. Biblical factors may have been involved. Remember, if you see the news story, it might merit some attention. Let us know about it. Some originates originally past Fox News, MSNBC, the New York Times, another major national media outlet, and you'll most likely have already heard about it. Thanks to all readers who have submitted great news and tips of us. We didn't grade of latest to greatest news to know. Why not take a look to see what you missed? And please note the links that will take you directly to the source. MSNGS is not responsible for the content website to which we refer. For more information, please see our privacy policy. Because that's giant bugs. Now we can get to giant countries. Well, yeah. Well, 10 of them, because there's also 10. We can also get to 10 largest countries in the world, because they're giant countries and stuff. Well, the world is home to many countries. Their sizes are very greatly. Some countries are small, while others are enormous. The 10 largest countries of the world are listed in order are Russia, Canada, China, the United States, Brazil, Australia, India, Argentina, Kazakhstan, and Algeria. These countries have the significant portion of the Earth's surface, accounting for 55% of the area among these countries. Russia is the largest, acquiring about 11% of the planet's total area. It is deemed by the many of the largest countries in the world of the Northern Hemisphere. Countries of the Northern Hemisphere tend to be larger due to their geography, climate, and history. For example, Russia and Canada are both located in the far north, where they have vast expanses of the hash of climates. The country is relatively small. China, India, and the United States are large countries and limited populations. And they are located in the northern hemisphere. So that's how big they are. So yeah, of course, Russia's the largest. Yeah. How many provinces or republics? I don't know what they're. I don't know what. I know. How many provinces of Russia? I think Russia's are called provinces or republics. Let's see. Yeah, okay, 46 oblast. Okay, so there's 7 regions of Russia, like Siberia. Okay, southern. Okay, in the Far East. Okay, and Northwest, Central. Okay, so. And they're also called republics as well. Or I think they're called republics. Yeah, 21 republics is what how many okay, so yeah, Russia has republics, but it has 21 of them. Okay. And it also has 7 regions. Okay. So that's what Russia is. Now Canada, well, Canada has 10 provinces and 13, okay, and also 3 territories. You know. And both Russia and Canada are cold. And they're both the coldest countries in the world. Well, yeah, since Antarctica is not a country, Antarctica is just a continent. You know. Okay, then we got China and the United States. Obviously, I don't know why this website is saying that China is bigger than the United States. Well, that's only if you're counting this part of the United States, conditional United States of America. It is true the conditional United States, because I know it is true, because I already said in my video, the United States of America is about as big as China in landmass. But for B, the United States, this was the conditional United States. You see? You also add Alaska and Hawaii. If you add Alaska and Hawaii, and then the United States might be bigger than China on the water side and stuff, but if you add Alaska and Hawaii. So if you want to see how China's provinces go by here, yeah, by map borders are here are the borders right here of China's provinces. And now I know this map. Now this picture's not showing you the name of the provinces, but it's showing you the names of the cities and also province capitals, and the national capital, which is Beijing. Okay. And I know I heard way back in August that Beijing, China, that Beijing got flooded, but that was way back in August. I think if they probably, I'm not sure. Well, they probably did recover from that, but that was way back in August. And I know people have been telling me about this. And I know I love the United States of America, but people have been playing in the news because I was playing on YouTube one time. I was typing that China is terrible, but I wasn't even focusing on the other ways. So, but he's been asking me, but he thinks I believe that China is terrible because I've been believing about, well, what do I believe about? Well, first of all, that's because I used to believe about persecution of Christians and stuff, and Muslims. But I don't know if that's true, first of all, okay? I know a lot, but I don't know, I've been looking about that of number 16 or 17 and stuff. Well, that might be true in a lot of ways, but a lot of people think it's not true. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. But he thinks that I'm believing in the United States news. The United States news. Well, I don't know why you're talking about that. The United States news teaches propaganda. Okay, and I don't want to believe in propaganda. Come on, that's what you think? You think I believe in the United States news? You stupid guy. I don't believe in that crap. That's propaganda, okay? You know, I don't want to believe in propaganda. No things. Okay. Now we have to get into I don't know, I guess. Well, there's a lot of people who do believe that China's safe and they think it's a new land of the free and stuff. Well, I don't know if that's true either. And it can be a lot of ways. The United States is pretty cool. I've been watching it, and I've been watching about different cities, about different states in the United States on YouTube and stuff. Well, China? Well, I've been learning about China from YouTube mostly. And it looks beautiful. Yeah. It looks pretty much advanced as a country. And because, it has pretty advanced technology and stuff. Yeah, of course. But if you want to talk about the Communist Party of China, yeah, of course, it is true that. Yeah, I know. If you want to talk about that, I don't know why you like to talk about that anyway, because that's something. I know. First of all, I hate politics. Okay, and and plus, United States is already is communist itself anyway by having homosexuality and abortion legal, and a lot of other things, and all of other bad things are legal. Okay, the United States itself. Okay, so I know you're only saying that about China. Why about my home country, United States of America? There's a lot of other bad things are legal. That's make it so to me. My home country, United States of America, is also a communist. So what's the point? Okay? So I would say in both the United States, so both China and the United States of America are both communist countries. That's what I'm saying. Okay, they both are. If you want to make it, if you want to talk about politics here, but to me, I really don't care. Okay? Both good I would say they're both of them are. Both. But I would say, but my home country, United States of America, you know, if you want to call them that. I say that from my home country. Well, maybe, well, look, from my home country, United States of America, I don't know very much about, you look, well, there's a lot of, first of all, bad things happen everywhere, okay? Why are you thinking about bad things are in China? Look at about your home country, United States of America. Look, there's a lot of bad things here in my home country, United States of America. You know, a lot of homeless and crimes and stuff. Just stop focusing on China and start focusing on the United States. Because, you know, my home country is something, because that's where I live, you know, United States. First of all, I don't know, okay? For both the United States, now I don't like, okay, I already talked about that, first of all. So, I don't know what's the point, okay? And first of all, I don't know why I think you're leaving propaganda. Well, and plus they would say I never been to China. Well, of course I never been to China, but that's not what I'm talking about here. And yeah, of course there's a lot of good things about China. I've been watching videos about that too, but I'll get into that in maybe a different video and stuff. So, but a lot of people believe I'm wrong about China. Well, if you think I'm wrong about China, that's fine. You can believe that all you want. But you know, if you think I'm so brain polluted about United States news, you know, because well, it is true. United States news are both teaching propaganda and stuff. Well, Chinese news also teaches propaganda as well, but you know, now if you don't even hear about that stuff too. Now we can also talk about Brazil and Australia. Well, Brazil, our provinces are the provinces called Brazil. Okay, Brazils are called states. So there's 26 states of Brazil. Okay? So yeah, Brazil has 26 states. Now what Australia? How many states Australia has? Okay, so Australia has 6 states. Okay, now what about India? How many states does India have? Well, okay, India has 28 states and 8 union territories. Okay, now what about states in like Kazakhstan? Okay, so Kazakhstan has 14 provinces. Okay, now what about Algeria? Okay, and I think okay, and Algeria has like about 58 provinces. Okay, yeah, like about 48 provinces. Okay, that's what Algeria has. Okay. And Algeria is the biggest country in Africa, is what I heard, yeah. So let's read more about this, okay? The biggest countries in the world. So Russia, Canada, People's Republic of China, the United States of America, Brazil, Australia, India, Argentina, Kazakhstan, and Algeria. Russia is the biggest country in the world and total area of 1.71 billion kilometers. Canada follows second place, the biggest country, is the total area. While China ranks third of the total area of 9.7 million kilometers. The United States comes fourth place, the biggest countries in the world, and total area of 9.4 million kilometers. And Brazil is the fifth with 8.5 million kilometers. Australia is the sixth biggest in the world with 20.7 million kilometers. And with India is the seventh biggest, 3.3 million. Argentina ranks eighth biggest country in the world with total area of 2.8 million kilometers. And followed the Kazakhstan ninth place, the biggest country, 0.7 million kilometers. While Algeria is the 10th, 2.4 million kilometers. Here's the list of 10 biggest countries in the world based on their total area. Now, the largest country in the world. Rogers is the largest country in the world by 7.14 million, and it spans across two continents, Russia, Europe, and it borders Norway, Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Belarus, Ukraine, Georgia, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, China, Mongolia, and North Korea, but also borders Japan and the United States of America because it also borders which is the state of Alaska, So yeah, it borders like about 16 countries. It also has a coastline along the Arctic and Pacific Oceans. What's its size, its history and geography, with its vast areas being a factor of its development. The largest countries by area. Okay. Anyway. And you have to go right now, guys. So I'll talk about giant stars a little later, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, so my name is Wim. Okay, I'm back. Now I want to talk about the stuff. Because something. Okay, guys, I'm back. Okay, so Let's look at the republics. So how many republics in Russia? In Russia. 21, yeah, okay, so Russia has like about 21 republics. Okay, and then 7 regions, okay. Now, Canada. Well, we know that, well, I don't, well, first of all, Canada has 10 provinces and 3 territories. So that's what it. So we know we need that. Okay, so let's see. So China has 23 provinces and 5 autonomous regions. Okay. And I know that the United States of America has 50 states and also 14 territories. But how about Brazil? How many states does Brazil are in Brazil? So Brazil has 26 states, and you got Australia after that. So Australia has 6 states. And what's after Australia? Okay, India. Okay, India has 28 states. Okay, and I already talked about India when I was preaching against Hinduism. Remember? Yeah. Now, how many states are in Argentina? Okay, so Argentina has 23 provinces. Okay. Now for Kazakhstan, yeah, Kazakhstan has 17 provinces. Now for Algeria. Yeah. So Algeria has like about 58 provinces. Okay. Okay, that's it. So I'm done talking about that. And I'm sorry I got into a fight, but people have been talking to me about too many stuff here, so. I hope that, okay, so the guy who called me about why I believe that China's terrible, well, I hope, well, I I don't know. I don't think he's watching this video anyway, but to me, yeah, I guess I don't want to get into politics, okay? I don't, you know, but yeah, I'm saying that they're both. Yeah, I know. So I said they're both communist countries. Yeah, well, yes, but bad things happen everywhere. So what's the point anyway? You know, I'm sorry I got into politics and stuff, but because I just want to. But I don't like politics anyway, and just want to get that out anyway because I'm sorry, okay? I only got to that because I know a lot of people at church like to talk about communism too much and stuff. I loathe politics, okay? And the only politics I believe in is the Bible's version of politics, and that's it anyway. So the Bible, because I believe the Bible and stuff. So all right, well let's get into giant. Sorry, giant stars. Well, oh yeah. Well, I don't know, guys. Okay, well I'll talk about the good things about the United States of America. And I guess I'll talk about the good things about China. Maybe in another video, okay? Because I want to get into giant stars now, okay? So giant stars, those are, yeah, I know people are also calling giants too. So, what are giant stars? And we have to learn about that too. Anyway, well, and do I believe about the life cycle of the star? Well, I don't. Well, first of all, no, I don't, because I don't believe. First of all, I don't believe that stars have a life cycle at all. That is made by stupid atheists. They can they think the stars have the same age as we do, but they don't. So I don't believe that anyway. I believe the Bible. So yeah, of course, I know the atheists do believe that sun would become a red giant star by million years in the future, but which will swallow Mercury, Venus, and Mars. Yeah, with just the whole inner solar system, and then turn to a white dwarf, and then a white and then in what called drillion years it will turn to a black dwarf. Okay, so this one is called. So this star is called VY Canis Majoris. But before you can get into that, though, First of all, I don't think the sun will become a giant star. I think the sun is shrinking, but I already talked about that. But I already talked about that in another video. If you want to see it, it's way back on YouTube. If you want to find out about that, okay. But anyway, let's go back to what I was wanting. So giant stars. Well, I know VY Gamma Majority used to be one of the biggest ones, but not anymore. But I'll get into that in just a minute. So, yeah, so VY Gamma Majoris. And it says right here that if it's one of the stars, if it replaced our sun's center of the solar system, it will surface extend beyond the orbit of Jupiter. Well, probably the orbit. Well, yeah. Well, not just that. Also extend beyond the orbit of Saturn as well because it's so big. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, VY Majoris will probably extend beyond the orbit of Saturn, not just Jupiter, but Saturn as well. The one I would know of that extend only to Jupiter is just Betelgeuse. Yeah, Betelgeuse, and then you got P-Canis Majoris, which is will extend beyond the orbit of Saturn. What about? Yeah, there's also a star that also extend beyond the orbit of Uranus. If it got replaced. Well, that's the one called UY Scuti. So yeah, so the biggest star in our galaxy is UY Scuti. If this star got replaced by the sun, yeah, it would just extend it would extend away to the orbit of Uranus. And there's also a star called Stephenson 218, which is supposed to be, I think, bigger than UY Scuti. Okay, so Okay, and now I want to talk about there's some people that believe there's also another star that's bigger than UY Scuti. Let me show it to you. It's called Stephenson 218. Okay, I believe season now if season 218 gets replaced our sun, it will probably extend all the way to the orbit of Neptune. And that's probably what I do believe. So yeah, and that's okay. And those are the giant stars. Okay, so those are the biggest stars. Now, what's the most massive star? Well, the most massive stars are blue stars. Okay, yeah, the most massive star is R136A1. And I don't know. I don't think I have a picture of R136A1, and it's supposed to be. Okay, let me find a picture of one R36A1. R136A1. Okay. Let me close this. So here's a picture of R136A1. Okay? Yeah, I know. It looks blue, a very light blue star, but because but I don't think it's a blue star though. Even though it does look blue, that is true. I believe this star is a violet star because it looks a lot bigger than the normal blue star. I know Rigel's a normal blue star. Well, Well, maybe Rigel. Well, maybe Rigel's an indigo star because it's a blue. Because it looks like a blue supergiant star, a blue and white supergiant stars. That one's it. So I would say consider that one as an indigo star. Rigel, yeah. But this star called R186A1 is probably a violet star. Because it's much bigger, that's why. I mean, that does look a brighter blue to us anyway. Okay. Okay, now we can get into this article here about lithium, about stars here. Let's read this, okay? All right. Now, in the recent paper published by Astronomical Journal Letters, a team of Chinese and Japanese astronomers reported that high lithium concentrations of new 12 newly discovered low-mass metal-poor main sequence and red giant stars in the Milky Way. Although all the stars have larger than expected extenses of lithium I, and one of the stars have more than 100 times higher abundance and normally expected values. This is the largest extent of metal-poor stars known to date. The light content was determined by the spectroscopic analysis. And star abundance analysis was carried out looking at thermodynamic equilibrium (LTE) and checked against non-local thermodynamic equilibrium in LTE and monostellar photospheres. Magnetic systems of lithium enrichment in stars. Enriched stars are much more commonly detected in red giant stars, and probably because they're high luminosity and red giants, and compared to main sequence stars, not necessarily a result of high frequency of red giants. Additionally, in Star Evolutionary Model, AGB, a study of high giant breach, stars have been found to high LA levels. And emphasized Cameron Fowler, and mechanism is supposedly responsible. And so the state of zones requires extremely high temperatures on the core and source of aluminum and lithium. The fast mixing of the core to outer envelope and of the lithium to the surface. In the main sequence star and red giant branch stars. The common type of the red giants the mechanism is not available. There are several proposed mechanisms scenarios which will account for high light concentrations of AGB stars, including red giants, which in rocky planets and comets and asteroids dealing average stars consisting like from nova and supernova of other potential scenarios. But none of these other mechanisms fit of the current stars in the study. Make an exception to standard. One of the subgiants in the study, J0741 plus 2132, lithium abundance A, and then 4.5 corresponding times lithium expended, which is the most of the others of the LI, equals 2.5 to 3.5 in range. And interestingly, even though it appears to be no mechanism of the point, of the pore and as a star, of the testing of the abundance would approach of others in the AI. 3 in range. And assuming all these stars starting out with an A. Li equals 4.5. Researchers calculated of the first drench up, mixing up the contained layer of the leaf-free layer and our surface, the abundance at its surface from 4.5 to 3, which fits most of the other stars studied. They therefore concluded model provided a natural explanation presents of Lyric objects to at any evolutionary stage. There's a problem here though, and this suggested interpretation of studied stars is correct. They still not identify the source, extremely large Lie excess and stars like J0741 plus 2132. This may not have been taken to be observed as an outlier and to the particular abundance in other stars. Never fear rescuing devices here. Since no significant internal mixing explained as such, unevolved stars within a framework instead of stellar evolution theory, by production Cameron Fowler mechanism is such are very unlikely. Other models such as planet association are very unlikely due as low metal consumption is big as a no planetary formation, while the evolutionary predicament. Plus, the union is still too high even for an unlikely scenario. These appears nearby AGB or white dwarf stars, which J0741 and 2132 could life form. Nova expansions could have been proposed as a lattice mechanism, and even astronomers could tip that as a stretch certainty of metals like C, Na, Mg, and Ba, and do not appear significantly enriched. And they're one of the and they could expect if light in the star acquired via accretion from nova material. Lastly, authors oppose the radical, highly improbable solution, going back to a form planetary accretion. The problem is emerging events, basically conclusions with planets or other rocky bodies, or the curves of high linear abundance to star J741 and then plus 2132. These are type of events that would cause the mechanism with the star in might induce a Cameron Fowler mechanism, but such as planetary strikes might also cause high retinography philosophy impacted star, which is not observed with J741 plus 2132. Never fear though, because even though this is the main sequence subgiant star, proposed conclusions might be old enough to star's creation has slowed down since the merging event took place. That is your conclusion of the whole matter. Now to conclude of the following remarks. The existence of low-rate stars indicates there are still unknown processes, a low-rate star evolution, and even phrase before they evolved with their giants. Study of the usually regarded as well in the field of the astrophysics. Solving the mystery of the origin of the provides industry into structure and evolution. Low-mass stars could propagate in planetary systems of the galaxy formation based on the observation of the low-mass stars. Obviously, there are always going to be unknowns of any scientific kind, as finite humans are never going to have perfect knowledge, but have stated numerous times on our website. And it is not the battle over evidence. of the battle over worldviews. It is noticed that our conclusion, the authors have been extremely of the something of the atheist, secular, humanist worldview. Totally negates faith. The listed definitions of faith. According to dictionary.com, the beliefs are based on proof. These astronomers have no proof that these are unknown process, below that star evolution. According to Light Abundance, there are no proof that even for the case of the solved mystery that will provide further of the stellar evolution. Most importantly, have no proof of stellar evolution. Yes, they have hypotheses, but they have currently have been about the stars evolved, and there are not proofs. Secondly, for secularists to write, radical Christians, actually invoking faith, and while doing the exact same thing, themselves seem rather disingenuous. What is the creation worldview response? There is nothing about lithium, and the stars were not fitted within a creation, a cosmology, for example. Of RG unknown as mentioned by astronomers, the sun initially low lithium abundance. Lithium less than of the linear of the population. I stars have more extreme population 2 stars, and the linear of the emission is seen to more lithium. And about the lithium of the universe appears to be drastically lower than the Big Bang model predicts. Creation astronomers also admit that these lithium issues have been unexplained in the creation cosmology, but just like their secular colleagues, encourage continued observation and data collection. But creationists have more explanations of things. We have eyewitness account of stars, creation according to Scripture, in Genesis chapter 1 verse 16. They are not billions of years old, only a few thousands of years old. And they have not undergone several dredge ups, which would have diffused their lithium. But still have lithium because they were created the way that and they are young. Creationists do not expect homogeneity in stored objects and processes. Scripture even states that differ in glory, and already conclude this world of existing science is really affects brightness. And you can read this verse in the KJV. This is the verse in the NKJV, New King James. Anyway, but let's just read this part. So, as Dr. Elizabeth Mitchell has stated, taking a biblical stand does not undermine science. It illuminates science, just like reliable eyewitness testimony enables a detective correctly interpret as soon as the evidence at the scene of a crime. Furthermore, evolutionists have their own god of the gaps. Yeah, I know, their god is time. The evolutionary god of gaps consists of time, chance, and laws of nature, which alone do not have explain it. Incredible design and living fossilized creatures and massive geological formations of their own case of news item. Formations that we have seen across our universe, but our intelligent, holy, sovereign God of the Bible, and his acts of history as recorded in the Bible, and can to explain activity will and what we observe. If you study the stars and marvel at their beauty, appreciate the differences in them, recognize they are for signs and seasons, and give light on the earth. But we also to look at them as signposts which point us to greater reality. The great reality is that God created the heavens and the earth. Well, yeah, there are 3 heavens, yeah. Well, because about Jesus there are 3 heavens. He created the first. Yeah, he created the 3rd heaven on day 1. He created the 2nd heaven on day. Yeah, he created the 1st heaven on day 2, and he created the 2nd heaven on day 4. So, yeah, somehow God is mindful to mankind, though He created billions of galaxies and trillions of stars, and through the sun. John 1 verses 1 to 3, and then Colossians 1 verse 16. And even more amazing that God is having visited man as a God, man Christ Jesus, and he came and reconciled back to God. Colossians 1 verse 19 to 20. While studying the lithium content of certain stars as an important scientific endeavor, the pales in significance next to the most important questions we asking: who is God, and what does He want from me? Okay. Okay, so that's it, guys. So that's what okay, so that's what it's about. Well, giant stars anyway. So don't talk about that now. I'll talk about how to get saved according to the Bible now. Okay? So the point of evolution is to damn souls to hell. The only way to go to heaven is to believe on Lord Jesus Christ. Salvation is by faith alone, and grace of Jesus Christ alone. And once you are saved, by easy beliefs in the truth, meaning you can't lose your salvation. By reason salvation, easier to do for salvation. Okay, now to the next. So let me see. No, you open this to a new window. Because I forgot to open up what we do next video. Okay, talk about next video is called what is possible about Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. Well, I'll talk about that next video. Because I got rights now. So thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.